The organizational meeting of Missionary Baptist Church was held on November 30th, 1891, in the home of Mr. O. Etheridge. 8 charter members were present. In this meeting, a board was elected, and George Cook was called as part-time pastor. For nearly 4 years, the church shared a building with the Methodist. In early 1895, the Baptist had completed construction on a small frame building situated at the intersection of South 1st Street and Avenue E. George Mayfield Daniel, the church's first full-time pastor, preached the first sermon in the new building. Under his leadership, the church membership increased from 8 to 18. The church began to reach out to neighboring communities and to lumbering camps. In 1896, the church ordained J.W. Brazelton, and he became the second full-time pastor. The Women's Missionary Union was organized in 1904 with 18 members. The church became debt-free in 1905. Brother R.E. Day became pastor in 1919. On December 18, 1921, the congregation changed its name to the First Baptist Church and moved into its new modern house of worship. Over 1,100 people came that day to see the Baptist new building. J.I.F. Tharp was pastor from 1929 until 1934. In December of 1931, George Strake struck oil, and the city of Conroe's financial status changed for the better. Conroe's population quickly doubled to 5,000. During the ministry of T.A. Gray, the church built a brick education building and called a second full-time staff member. A.C. Donath served as pastor from 1947 to 1956. This was a season of tremendous growth. Membership additions totaled more than 1,500 people. Sunday school attendance reached 480. The church needed more room. A primary children's building was built, and the sanctuary was enlarged. In 1954, Hooper Memorial Chapel was constructed and endowed by the Dick Hooper family in memory of his parents. Southside Baptist Church and Woodland Heights Baptist Church were started during Brother Donath's ministry. Ray Mayfield became pastor in 1956. Under his leadership, an elementary building and an intermediate building were constructed. After 7 years, Mayfield resigned to become assistant to the president of Houston Baptist University. In 1964, the church called Dr. Cliff Harrington as pastor. Brother Cliff served as pastor for 19 years. The church has honored this beloved servant by recognizing him as pastor emeritus. The membership of the church more than doubled to over 2,000 members. The church reached the capacity of existing buildings. Dedication of a new sanctuary building was in early 1970. The building expansion continued, and the existing gym was dedicated in early 1975. Staff leadership in the 1970s was provided by Ed Wiggins, Tom Sims, Kendall Clayton, Wilton Robinson, and Bill Heston. Mike Smith was called as minister of music following Tom Sims. Mike impacted the lives of many young people through youth choir. Chuck Gartman was called as youth minister in 1977. Under Chuck's leadership, First Baptist Youth Ministry became a convention-wide model for comprehensive youth ministry. The innovative ministry touched the lives of students, parents, and workers. Livewires, the senior adult ministry of First Baptist, was begun during this time. Oak Ridge Baptist Church, First Baptist Church, the Woodlands, and Sawdust Road Baptist Church were started as missions of First Baptist. Jerry Vogel became the minister of childhood development in 1980. In 1981, David Harrell accepted the call to become the church's minister of music. 1982 was an eventful year for our church. The Long Range Planning Committee recommended steps for the development of West Conroe Baptist Mission. The church purchased the 600 block of North Main, the street between the sanctuary and gym. Brother Cliff announced that he had accepted the call of First Baptist Church Georgetown to become pastor. Dr. Marshall Edwards' first Sunday as pastor of First Baptist Church was January 8, 1984. Sunday school attendance that day was 1,263. Both morning worship services were filled to capacity, with extra chairs being placed in the aisles. Dr. Edwards was a gifted, charismatic speaker. He drew large crowds each time that he spoke. His concise, uplifting topical messages were forerunners of seeker services of today. Under his leadership, the ministries of First Baptist touched the city of Conroe. Church membership reached nearly 4,400 by 1990. Average Sunday school attendance exceeded over 1,000 per week as early as 1987. Cooperative program mission giving was at record levels. Some years, combined budget and building giving exceeded $3 million. The city came in almost overwhelming numbers for Thursday's business lunch to listen to sermon series such as Wholeness of Life. Some of you may still have your cassette tapes. Parking, worship seating, and educational space became a constant issue as hundreds of new individuals came to worship and study God's Word. Remote Sunday school space was secured in nearby schools and office buildings. Easter Sundays were held at Conroe High School auditorium. Every ministry of First Baptist Church grew exponentially. At this time, Charles Downey filled the newly created staff position as associate pastor. Two significant ministries reaching out into the community were Friends International and the Deaf Ministry. David Harrell and the music ministry produced the annual Conroe Christmas celebration. Each year, 6,000 people attended the multiple sold-out performances at Conroe High School. The 2-hour pageant was an elaborate, beautifully costumed event with 125 voice choir, orchestra, professional backdrops and scenery, children, youth, animals, drama, and theatrical lighting. Over 325 individuals sacrificed time, talent, and resources to clearly present the message of God's redeeming love in Jesus. This was an amazing gift to the city from First Baptist Church. First Baptist Music Ministry was comprised of over 500 individuals. Sunday worship times were filled with choirs of all ages, instrumental groups, soloists, ensembles, handbells, and a challenging message from Dr. Edwards. Special projects and seasonal music preparations were always in rehearsals. Over 100 music ministry participants were the featured choir for the 1988 Baptist General Convention of Texas Church Music Workshop at Baylor University. The senior adult choir premiered works in national conferences at Ridgecrest and Glorietta Baptist Assemblies. Youth choir tours journeyed to Washington, D.C., Oklahoma, Florida, and Colorado. Chuck Gartman and the youth leadership team had the privilege and responsibility of influencing the next generation of leaders in our church and in other churches. Staffing for 12 youth Sunday school departments, programming for over 200 youth summer campers, enlisting 25 homes for yearly Disciple Now weekends, vacation Bible schools, Wednesday night Bible studies for over 100 students, quarterly leadership training sessions, summer mission trips, supporting and involving youth parents, and detailing the organizational structure consumed every available resource. As ministries continued to grow, it became necessary to add educational space. A new 24,000 square foot educational building was completed in October 1988. Building 8 achieved the goal of getting all the remote Sunday school classes back on campus. Rick's Tom Tillman accepted the call to become minister of music in 1994. Tom, as he became known around Conroe, brought to the city a Christmas evening. For 22 years, this highly anticipated Christmas concert featured the church's choir and orchestra, and special musical guests from an array of nationally recognized Christian artists. Some of these artists include Sandy Patty, Nilsson and Young, Larnell Harris, Dick and Melody Tunney, Jackie Velasquez, Guy Penrod, David Phelps, and Point of Grace. Tom and the choir recorded 3 professionally produced CD projects. 2 of these projects earned recognition by receiving Silver Angel Awards. The choir has had several opportunities to premiere works at publishers' workshops. The choir has made 1 international mission trip to Vancouver, Canada. Additionally, Tom has touched the community with his weekly devotional, appearing in the Conroe Courier. Tom established himself as a minister musician. He was a reliable, faithful leader to this congregation for over 22 years. It was a bittersweet time of rejoicing for Tom when he accepted the invitation of the Baptist General Convention of Texas to move to Dallas and lead their music and worship area. Dr. Charles Walton became pastor in May 1995. The church, during Dr. Walton's ministry, embraced Vision 2000. Main Street property, which the church had purchased in 1982, enabled this needed building program. Vision 2000 consisted of the atrium, Harrington Hall, media library, music suite, bride's room, and added educational space. Each week, relationships are developed and enhanced with interactions in the atrium and meals in Harrington Hall. Vision 2000 gave campus-wide sheltered access on rainy Sundays. Del Talbert's leadership was very effective in this period. Average Sunday school attendance was approaching 1,000 per week in 2008. One of the largest Easter Sunday attendances was recorded with Easter at the Lone Star. 2,500 individuals attended this special service at the Lone Star Convention Center. Dr. Walton retired in September 2009. In 2011, the church started Encounter, a contemporary worship service in Hooper Chapel. The church began a long-term partnership in mission efforts with churches in Vancouver, Canada. In 2011, Generations, a program of stewardship and restoration of existing campus facilities, was undertaken. In 2016, Jeff Berger began his ministry with the people of First Baptist Church as the 30th pastor. The dynamic heritage of First Baptist will continue under the leadership of this loving shepherd. Know that the Lord Himself is God. It is He who has made us and not we ourselves. We are His people, born of His Spirit, established by His Word. Our cornerstone is Jesus Christ alone, and in Him we are able to stand strong. Our history serves to challenge us to remain true to the one who has brought us to this point. Our future depends upon every member being willing to be shaped and molded by the Master Potter's hand. It is our prayer that God will one day say to each of us, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant."